to the entertainment Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. This will probably be my last for the day. I have work tonight at 5 o'clock. This is pre-recorded. It'll probably come out around 7:30. But I wanted to get a video up on this because it was a really interesting stat line that I thought came out on Twitter by Dan Schneider regarding Deandre Baker. And Deandre Baker, actually, I had a subscriber I did a video for that asked me, I did it about a couple of weeks ago, that asked me which guy from this year's rookie class do I see taking the biggest jump in year two. And to the surprise of some, I picked Deandre Baker. Deandre Baker, of course, out of Georgia, had a disappointing rookie season. He had some ups, no doubt about it. He was good in certain games. But overall, he definitely was a disappointment. Was not worthy of a first-round pick in his rookie year. I still think he has a lot of talent. I was a big fan of getting him. You go back, look at my mock drafts from last year. I had him going 17th to the Giants in several of them. Was my personal favorite corner in last year's draft, and hopefully improves. Of the other two guys in last year's draft, nobody really had a great rookie year. So hopefully he gets a lot better. The corner position is hard to adjust to. But one common complaint I had, and one common complaint a lot of New York Giants fans had regarding Deandre Baker, was we thought in the James Bettcher defense he was not being utilized properly. And that's one thing that I love about this coaching staff, whether it's Joe Judge or whether it's Patrick Graham. I think they're lockstep in the thought process of we want to put our guys in the best position to succeed. We're versatile. We're going to put them in the spot where we think they're going to have the best chance for us to get the most production. And with James Bettcher, he was kind of married to the scheme. And I can't fault James Bettcher for that. James Bettcher had success in Arizona. But when you get players that are not accustomed to doing the things that you want them to do in your defense, you're not going to have great results, especially when the guy's in his rookie year. At Georgia, everybody knows Deandre Baker played almost exclusively as a man press corner. With the New York Giants, he spent a lot of times in the zone. And you're going to see the disparity between his production in zone coverage, man coverage, and, press coverage. And it is a significant difference. Now, these stats, I think, from what I read, were accumulated from weeks 10 to 17, which I did a video on this in season, where Deandre Baker had a vast improvement over the last 5 or 6 games of the year. Now, some of that could be attributed to the level of competition. We played teams like the Jets, Miami, the Redskins down the stretch, the Eagles without their wide receivers. But regardless, it was definitely something to build off of for Deandre Baker going into his sophomore season. But the one thing that really hits home with these stats is how much better Deandre Baker is in playing in press corner, man corner, as opposed to zone, which is where he played a wide majority of the time last year with James Bettcher. And I do not expect him to play in that defense this year with the New York Giants, because I think Joe Judge and Graham are smart enough to realize this guy, if we're going to be good next year, Deandre Baker's going to have to take a big step forward, no doubt about it. He's either going to be our first corner or second corner. I'm still hoping second corner. I hope we address that in free agency, bringing a veteran. But regardless, he's going to be a big part for this defense. And for him to take a huge stride, which is what this team will need to be competitive, he will need to be put into situations to succeed. And I do think that both these guys are going to do that. They want players that are versatile, but by the same token, I think that they're going to want the players that they have on their roster to be put into situations where they feel like they could get the most out of them. And when you look at what Deandre Baker did last year in different coverages, it really is mind-blowing as to why James Bettcher and this New York Giants team did not put him in a better situation to succeed. This guy was accustomed to playing a certain way in college. That's what he's known for. He's not a zone corner. And these are the stats. Take a look at these numbers. And like I said, these are between weeks 10 and 17. Almost 41% of his snaps were in man. He held the QB to a rating of 55.9 on 40.6% of his snaps in which he was in man. He was targeted 13 times. He let up 6 receptions. And only surrendered 3.7 yards, per target, okay, which is a great number. You look at the press, all right, 18.8%, but again, very similar to the sense that yards per target is right at 4, the QB rating a little higher at 83.3, but still very impressive numbers. Press jam ran almost 10% of the time, 43.8 QB rating, much like the other two, under 4 yards per target at 3.3. 3 balls were thrown his way, only 1 reception. You look at the zone, 10 targets, 6 receptions, so 60% conversion rate when he was in zone, 135 QB rating. But the number that is most startling, the yards per target. Even though when you look at the disparity between zone and man, look at that. Man, there was only 3 more targets, both at the same amount of completions, but he surrendered triple the amount of yards per target at 11.9. So when he was targeted in zone, he gave up on average 12 yards per target. That's a startling number with a QB rating of 135. And that, to me, is why James Bettcher is without a job. And that, to me, is why I think Deandre Baker has a lot of room for growth and why I think he could take a huge step forward this year. Not only is he going to be, become more accustomed to the NFL game and, just become more comfortable, playing the position. Obviously, a lot of people say cornerback is the second hardest position to adjust from the college to the pros. But I think this coaching staff is going to put him in a much better situation to succeed than James Bettcher did. Even knowing those numbers over those last 6 and 7 games, and even as good as Baker played in comparison to the first half of the year, he still was struggling in zone, and Bettcher was still continuing to put him in that. Didn't make much sense to me, and I'm glad Bettcher's gone for that simple reason. I was in favor when we hired Bettcher because of his success with Arizona. I liked that it was going to be an aggressive defense, but at the end of the day, he didn't fit because he was a scheme guy. I don't like scheme guys. I like guys who want to get the most out of the players on the roster and find ways for those players to succeed, which is what it seems like this coaching staff is trying to do. And I really think DeAndre Baker is in for a really strong year for the New York Giants. I can't wait to see how it all plays out, and I think he'll have a big jump going forward. And I think those numbers are indicative. If put in the right situation, DeAndre Baker could be a very good player for the New York Giants going forward. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.